Hello gays, this is your friend Sai Yan Nexus Audio Fanfic and we are back in new fanfic. What if Dragon Ball Gohan never woke up, was sent back in time with all his memories, and changed the fate of every universe? Part 2. Gohan must have fallen asleep at some point because he wakes up to the dark of an evening sky. There's an ungenerous hole which acts as a pitiful excuse for a window, and so he's only rewarded with a couple of speckles against the blue-black. Even the stars look sad, he thinks as his eyelids pull close once more. The second time he wakes up is when the methodical hum of the hospital machines churn out an undesirable crunching sound. Gohan tries to bury his ears against the pillows but finds it to be futile. Just as he moves to fortress himself under the thin sheet does he hear the machine rip out a thunderous snarl before powering down completely. Irritation only momentarily bubbles until sleep takes him once more. The final time he wakes is when he is lightly shaken by the shoulder. It's the doctor from yesterday, the one who'd eventually given his name as Dr. Jivel. Good morning. It's not quite enough to feed a typical Saiyan, but I've brought you some breakfast, he wryly says as he gestures to a tray of dubious-looking food on Gohan's bedside. You should feel somewhat better today. Last night we pumped enough medicinal fluids into you to make a Cerulean burst. Gohan doesn't know what a Cerulean is and doesn't have time to ask as Dr. Jivel disappears behind the silvery sheet. Whatever medicine is currently being pumped into his body appears to have worked because Gohan is able to shimmy into an upright position without a wave of nausea battering him. Weak, but not invalid, he gazes towards the food. Dubious is putting it lightly. Apparently being some hotshot god type doesn't mean much if they serve him this kind of slop. You wouldn't have to eat such atrocities if you didn't put yourself in these kind situations. Startled, Gohan turns his attention towards the curtain. The silvery sheet slides cleanly over the shoulder of Gohan's newest guest, a man poised with self-assurance and polished refinement. He's all angles and points, especially with that glare, one which peers out through a pair of very golden eyes and into Gohan's soul. They're the eyes of a god, my lord. He stiffens under the gaze. Unlike Lord Rixus' eyes, these are sharper, tightening under blonde white eyelashes the longer he stares Gohan down. Straight away, Gohan knows that this must be the other brother, the mysterious Lord Quell the doctor mentioned last night. If only for those intense glowing eyes and sheet of blonde hair, Gohan can connect the dots. Lord Rixus and this man are eerily similar. The only main difference is that this guy's hair is long and neat, cascading smoothly down his back and looking like not even the wind could tempt it astray. It adds to his regal nature, opposing Lord Rixus' character in contrast. Whereas Lord Rixus looks like a common shaggy-haired college kid, this guy strikes Gohan exactly of what a lord should be. He's regal, commanding. The teenager swallows against the scratching of his throat. An uncomfortable pressure blankets the room and so he shuffles beneath the sheets. It's suffocating. Gohan feels like he's suffocating. This guy isn't good news at all. He thinks the man, Lord Quell, must be a mind reader because he showcases one of the nastiest scowls Gohan's yet seen. Of course you would forget yourself, this lord says as he lowers into the same chair the doctor used last night. You do like to keep it interesting for the rest of us, don't you? Gohan opens his mouth but nothing comes out. They say you think yourself some kind of Saiyan half-breed. He sighs but his eyes remain knife-like sharp. It reminds Gohan of Vegeta many years ago, and briefly of Piccolo when Gohan would do something particularly annoying in those early days. The silence hints to Gohan that this is his turn to talk. A wave of ki then flurries out. It surveys the room, filling every crevice with intense fury. The pressure from this man is unreal. Gohan's honestly never felt anything like it before. Lord Quell frowns as he ghosts his fingertips over the doctor's notes by Gohan's bed. So you forgot Lanet tongue, and the common speak. Lanet tongue. I'm sorry. Gohan finally spurts out, I can just feel your aura, it's. The man tilts his head over so slightly, his hair delicately falling sideward. There's nothing else delicate about this man, including the icy smile on show. It's a businessman's smile. It doesn't reach his eyes. I suppose you don't know who I am, do you? Gohan bites his lip. He has an idea, but knows full well that there's no right answer to this question. It's like when his mother used to drill him as a kid, hands on hips, asking him if he'd snuck out to train with Piccolo, knowing very well what the answer is already. The teenager coughs into his hand. You're his brother. Mori's. Right. The cold smile drops immediately and the man's lips press into a thin line. You really are a fool, aren't you, Mori? The man's eyelashes feather against his cheekbones in slow motion. He glares about the room. Look at where you are. Look at what you've done to yourself. Had you cooperated in the first place, then you wouldn't be here. TCH, when Rixus arrived at my chambers last night completely intoxicated, I thought he'd been exaggerating. Gohan wants to correct the Lord, correct him by telling him his real name, correct him by telling him that he actually isn't this strange Mori guy and that there's been some kind of mistake, but Gohan finds himself lip-locked. Instead, his gaze lowers. I'm told they found you wandering around the grounds like a lost lamb, he continues, waspish. That your brain damaged and you've forgotten yourself. The words are barbed and the pressure builds, the key from this man drowning Gohan in tide after tide of weight. Just where the hell have you been, Mori? He tries to speak again and is thwarted by the slew of nauseating ki. It's radiating from the Lord in oppressive spiraling waves. Never has Gohan known anything like this. Even looking at Lord Quell seems impossible. His head bangs, pulsating under the burden as his body threatens to crumble. Kneel, it tells him. It wants him to fold. There's a bang on Gohan's bedside table. We thought you dead, he continues, I thought you dead. Against his better judgment, Gohan looks up to be rewarded with the wintry glitter of gold. Frostily, Lord Quell considers him as the teenager palms the fabric of his mattress. Perspiration wets Gohan's forehead, his mouth runs dry and his words have long left him. Lord Quell leans in. His hair follows in trickles. You have rendered yourself powerless, lost, and worst of all, stupid. Gohan's eyes narrow on reaction. He catches the Lord's eyes in a direct blow. One thing he is not is stupid. Before Gohan manages a single word, the man's aura weighs down twice as heavy as before. It's as though someone's just thrown a house at him. Don't you look at me like that, the Lord hisses, body stiff and reminding Gohan of a snake ready to strike. After all this time you've been alive and yet I've known none of it. How dare you, Mori, how dare you do this after what happened to Famus? How dare you disappear from your duty? How dare you return after being dead like this? Just what have you done to yourself? He winces. This is worse than being scolded by mother. Heck, he'd rather have his dad shout at him than this. There's been a mistake, your key, can you just? The man stands with such ferocity that it knocks the wind out of Gohan. Worst of all, Mori, is that you don't have any idea of what I'm talking about, who I am, you are, or what you are. The crime is that you can't fathom what you have done because you have made yourself stupid. With that, Lord Quell leaves without as much as a returning glance. He, at least, takes that daunting key with him and within seconds Gohan can breathe somewhat easier. Laying there for nearly a full minute, Gohan tries to absorb what's just happened. The aura is gone but the memory of it still presses down on him, imprinting. He's worse than the first brother. Gohan steals a glance at the food on the bedside table and feels even more nauseated about eating than before. Dr. Jivel returns a while later, looking disheveled. His little hair fluffs in various directions and his pallor is gray. Are you okay? Gohan asks as the doctor changes one of the many lines leading from a machine and into Gohan's body. Droplets of blue liquid drizzle when Dr. Jivel disconnects one line completely before discarding it. Oh yes, quite. He connects a fresh line and presses something on a clear and buttonless table. Apparently that is because the doctor makes his way towards Gohan's uneaten breakfast and lifts exactly one brow. I'm really not hungry. Another brow rises to join its sister before he takes in a deep breath. I suppose not. I dare say I feel the same, as do the rest of the staff. Gohan looks at Dr. Jival questioningly. Allow an old doctor to give you some advice, sir. Do not anger Lord Quell. His power is immense, and honestly, he puts the fear of God into me and all of my colleagues. Dr. Jival collects Gohan's tray and makes his way to the curtain. He is your eldest brother, and clearly very displeased about your condition. If he becomes any more displeased, then he might just bring down the building. He caused a power outage last night and that was bad enough. The doctor leaves Gohan for a long time, long enough for him to become restless. No other doctors or nurses seem to be allowed into his room as he has no other visitors. He tries reading through the doctor's notes but can't understand any of the writing. Strange circles and oddly shaped lines must be how to write in this odd Lanat tongue, the language of this world according to the doctor, not that it means much to Gohan. Diagrams, drawings, and charts also frequently appear in his notes. He wonders if Piccolo would be able to recognize any of this. He tries to nap to pass the time. It's dark by the time he wakes up to food being presented to him. You must be hungry by now, Dr. Jival comments as he delivers the food to his bedside. And he is actually. This food doesn't look like the slop of this morning. There are vegetables he doesn't recognize, and a pink meat that smells particularly appetizing. Lord Rixus came to visit. You were asleep, so he was only here a short while. Relief sweeps him. He certainly doesn't have it in him to deal with another of Mori's brothers today. Of course he doesn't say this to the doctor and instead tries a mouthful of the spiral vegetable instead. It's very sweet, not bad. The doctor changes another of the lines and presses some buttons on the buttonless table again as he eats. So what is the realm of the Almighty? Gohan asks once he finishes his meal. Strange, he's never feel full after such a small meal back home. The doctor looks at him in a quick motion. The odd buttonless computer seems more interesting than him apparently. Well, that's a loaded question, sir. Gosh, he really hates this, sir. Nonsense. Apparently they think he's some kind of lord like the brothers. Whilst Gohan's always tried to be polite and respectful, he's never liked people to refer to him in any kind of formal way. It's just plain weird. Still, one thing Gohan hates more than this manner of speaking is the way the doctor tries to avoid his questions. I want to see my family, Gohan says, deciding to tackle Jival's dancing around with bluntness. I want to go home. The doctor looks at him in surprise. Do you not want your memories back? I have my memories. I know who I am. Let's just say, the doctor imposes as he looms over Gohan's bedside, that everything you're saying is true. A hand silences Gohan before he can interrupt, insisting that, yes, it is indeed the truth. Hear me out, sir. Let's say that your life on planet Earth is the true reality and we have made this grandiose mistake and that you're not Lord Mori and we're incorrect. How do you prove that? Take me to Earth. Take me to my dad. He can help. He knows people who can help. Okay. And how can we prove to you that our reality is the truth? Other than holding a mirror to your face. Your eyes are that of a god. There's no mistaking that. You can't. Humor me, Dr. Jival urges. Gohan tries to stare the doctor out, failing miserably. His mind comes up blank as the doctor goes on longer, waiting for a response. Really, Gohan doesn't have anything to offer up other than how impossible all this really is. When they'd showed him his eyes, he'd tried to jump up and out of bed. They'd been turned into glowing rocks of gold, turned creepy and all-knowing. Gohan hated it, still hates it. There's obviously been some kind of mistake here, yet no one's listening to him. Everyone is insisting otherwise. Both brothers stubbornly won't acknowledge that they've clearly made a mistake. The teenager's fists clench. It's so frustrating. Work with us and not against us, and we'll find the truth together, Dr. Jivel eventually puts out there. If you have no memories of being Lord Mori, then all this will be fruitless, and we can clear this misunderstanding up. Gohan swallows, but his mouth is already so dry that it just makes him feel sick all over again. The silence holds thickly in the air until, I still want to speak to my dad. Dr. Jivel seems to take this as a small victory. In time. You're safe here, so let's focus on being well first. You really did hit your head rather hard, and your energy levels still aren't where I want them to be. Once you're physically healed, I will have to pass you on to Dr. Hesk. She's one of the doctors who observed you yesterday. A bit nervous to take you, I think, but she's an expert in magical damage. She also has a way with magic and the mind, as I'm told, so she'll be the one to help you recount your memories. What will she do? Gosh, she wasn't a witch, is she? Don't look like that, sir. She's a fine doctor, very private and professional. Gohan bites his lip. Okay, he'll humor them first. If they need proof that they've made a mistake, he'll give it them. No problem. And if this other doctor is as good as Dr. Jivel said she is, then she'll help him figure all this out. I'll make them see the truth. Hours transpire into days through sleeping, eating strange and sweet foods, attempts at reading the doctor's notes to see what's actually wrong with him, and awkward conversations with Dr. Jivel. He's learnt that Dr. Jivel lives in the Spire Infirmary itself with his partner, a man by the name of Dr. Ulick. It comes as a little surprise. Gohan isn't prejudiced, but he hasn't really had much experience around gay people. Dr. Jivel was equally surprised at Gohan's reaction, telling him that liking one's gender wasn't anything anyone really questioned here. He'd laughed good-naturedly at Gohan's surprise. And this is how Earth came to be known as a hick planet to the good doctor. Gohan also learned that the Spire is apparently a well-respected and ancient establishment, dedicated to aiding the health of many individuals who are admitted. Dr. Jivel has been careful enough not to mention where exactly the Spire is, but Gohan is pretty sure he's still in the realm of the Almighty. Surprisingly, there are no more visits from any of Mori's brothers. I respectfully ask them to keep their distance, Dr. Jivel tells him as Gohan eats his breakfast one morning. It must have been day 4. Your health is of the utmost importance, and will only be hindered by our dutiful, but impatient, lords. He says it with eyes glowing in mischief, like he'd just said something he shouldn't have. Day 5 presents a new problem. He hadn't noticed until that afternoon that he hadn't needed to use the bathroom at all since waking up. Dr. Jivel conceals a chuckle when Gohan mentions it in a panic, telling Gohan that perhaps the medical equipment is more advanced at the Spire than on Earth. The wires dangling from his body taunt Gohan from where they lay streaming across his body. Luckily enough, it's day 6 when the fatigue and dizziness seems to have disappeared completely. There are no short bouts of napping anymore, which convinces Dr. Jivel that evening to remove all the wires altogether. You'll be able to take that toilet trip you're so eager about. Dr. Jivel jokes. Finally, on the morning of day 7, wire-free, Gohan's allowed to get out of bed. He manages to move himself around in the bed just fine, even better without the wires, but knows his body would not enjoy the challenge of standing. He's proven correct when he takes one step forward after hoisting himself up, crashing into the arms of Dr. Jivel when his feet can't manage the weight. He falls a further 5 times, but manages on the 6th to make it to the ivory armchair. You're doing well, Dr. Jivel says, wiping sweat from his brow. Supporting Gohan with every slip seems to have taken its toll. I don't understand why my body is so racked like this. You're assimilating to the environment, I told you this. That combined with the ki fluctuation and concussion has caused intense strain on your body. Something as simple as walking takes time. On Earth, people have to go through therapy for months to walk again, Gohan informs him, a little wheezy himself. Tisk. What kind of technological backwards planet of yours is this, Gohan? Dr. Jivel at least calls Gohan by his real name, which he's grateful for. When Gohan first requested Dr. Jivel drop the "Sir," he seemed more amused than aghast, like Gohan thought he might be, by it, and did it with ease. The doctor's analysis of him continues on. It seems that afternoon, nature calls. Walking is bearable but still awkward and painful. Thankfully, the doctor allows him to go to the bathroom alone after a brief argument, or 10 minutes of Gohan pleading. The bathroom is as bright as his adjoining bedroom. There is no window unlike the other room, however, being very cramped and uncomfortable for someone of Gohan's height to stand in. A toilet, similar to what he has on Earth, stands in the center. To the right, there's a small shower head, and to the left, a large one. A shower. That sounds amazing. He's felt grimy for days, but the doctor has been insisting that he should not move from his bed. To help, sanitizing sprays deploy from the ceiling and spray him in little drizzles of cleaning fluid daily. The experience is not pleasant. So a shower teasing him is all too tempting. Gohan quickly relieves himself, eventually finding out how to flush the toilet. You wave your hand over it, and approaches the shower. The mirror besides the basin goes very much ignored. 10 minutes later, Gohan exits in nothing but a large fluffy towel to a very angry-looking doctor. You say you're not him, but you have the same disobedient attitude. I'm sorry. Gohan apologizes as he hobbles to his bed. The doctor hums, brows furrowed. He throws Gohan a white robe from a cupboard near the computer. It's just as fluffy, draping over him like a cotton-padded cape. It's then that a knock at the door then distracts them both. The doctor paces through the silver curtain and to what must be the door on the other side. Ah, welcome, Dr. Hesk. Nerves shoot through Gohan's core. She's here now. A young woman filters through the curtain dressed in the same white uniform as Dr. Jivel. She's fairly pretty, with large brown eyes and even darker skin than Dr. Jivel. Hello, sir. Dr. Hesk stiffly greets. She's more nervous than he is. He prefers Gohan, Dr. Jivel tells her, and then offers her the ivory armchair. His attention shifts back to his patient, brows poised in an amused expression. Gohan, this is Dr. Hesk. She's one of the specialists from last week's observation, the one I told you about, the one who can help with your mind. Gohan's lips purse together. Even if he's promised to meet them in the middle, he can't help but think about how much of a waste of time this is. His reaction doesn't have a good effect on Dr. Hesk, and she lowers her head in swift motion. Ah, none of that, doctor, Dr. Jivel chides with a hand on her shoulder. Gohan doesn't like formalities, and is about as quick to spook as you. Gohan feels his neck heat up but didn't have the heart to correct him. Okay, she says. A deep breath and a mumble to herself later, she finally stares up at him. Gohan can tell she isn't looking directly at him, but rather, through him. I'm a specialist in magical injuries and research. I work primarily with people who've had damage inflicted upon the mind, often relating to memory loss, trauma, or emotional distress. Not that you're distressed or traumatized. Just thank you, doctor. He squeezes her shoulder. Tell him what you'll be doing with him. Right. She coughs and stared through him again. My hopes are to reignite connections between your current consciousness and memories. I have a pretty confident theory to what's going on here. Amnesia. Right. Gohan summarizes, incorrectly apparently, as she looks at him in horror. This seems to break her out of her flurry of nerves. Oh, no. It's magical, she breathes. The theory I'm running with most is that you've got two correlating conscious personalities submerged into one soul. Really interesting, I must say. To think that you're operating with two states of life is astounding. You're truly a wonder, sir. Dr. Jivel folds his arms and scolds her. Don't praise him, Hesk. This needs fixing. Her eyes widen and she stares between the two men. Dr. Hesk. Gohan tries respectfully, soft. This seems to have the desired effect as her shoulders sag. I'm not sure I understand. She looks at Dr. Jivel in order to continue and does so after he gives a brisk nod. Do you believe in reincarnation, Gohan? Gohan twists the bedding in his hands, not liking the direction of all this. I'm not. I don't know. I think this is what we're dealing with, she says with conviction. Lord Mori's body was found some years ago by Lord Quell himself. They found his body. Then why the heck are they questioning Gohan? Why do they think Gohan is him if they have a body? His face must be a sight because Dr. Hesk's pallor looks clammy. He settles himself, breathing hard and feeling even more confused. Reincarnation? I don't think so, he mutters. I do, she pushes. Your energy prints read the same. You have an uncanny resemblance. Your eyes. Only one sort of person can have the golden eyes of revelation, sir. My God, Dr. Jivel says on his behalf. Yes. Dr. Hesk nods to the other doctor before turning back to Gohan of who watches on, tense. Gohan, I believe you're the second consciousness, the reincarnation if you will. You've been living a real, true life, one of a Saiyan. But as real as your life is, so was Lord Mori's. Dr. Jivel gestures to the computer with a flick of the wrist. Your brain waves, Gohan. They're the same as Lord Mori's. What? Your conscious entities have come together. The female doctor continues, practically bouncing in excitement. Her hands clap together. Fascinating. Gohan squawks. My what? Your soul is one and the same, divided between two individuals but now one. Amazing, really. All we have to do is establish connections between both Gohan and Lord Mori. And you know how, Hesk. Dr. Jivel seems far too wrapped up in this now too. I have some ideas. This, impossible, a mistake. Gohan can't believe this. It's impossible. This Mori. He isn't him. He'd know, surely. I feel sick. The two doctors converse animatedly. The language changes between the strange Lanat tongue and what Gohan has come to know as universal speak. He catches the odd word but feels his hearing phase in and out. None of this is possible. It's like a long bad dream. Maybe Goten will suddenly come and jump on his head, laughing about breakfast or something him and Trunks have masterminded. He looks down at his hands. These are his hands, right? They look the same. A reincarnation. Gohan, why don't you lie down? You're awfully pale. Dr. Jivel pivots Gohan's legs onto the bed. His legs, still as tall, they're the same, right? Rest your head. Yes, that's it. A mistake. A mirror. Gohan manages. Doctor, please can you? Unsure. Dr. Jivel gingerly passes him the small white one he'd presented Gohan with last week. Right away, Gohan's taken by those eyes. Gold stares back, striking. Beyond that, he looks just like himself, except maybe a bit more tired than usual. And I've always looked like this. The doctor opens and closes his mouth. Well, yes, after childhood. Dr. Hesk leans forward, fear replaced with hungry interest. Why, how did you look before? Gohan looks between the two doctors. Dark eyes. But everything else. Dr. Jivel leans in, enamored too. It's the same, Gohan finishes, thinning his lips. You didn't say this earlier. Dr. Jivel protests. Dr. Hesk breathes, fascinating. Gohan, do you share any resemblances with your parents? Enough of this, Dr. Jivel snaps, completely devoid of patience. It seems Gohan's latest revelation is a step too far. Thank you, Dr. Hesk. I believe it's time for you to go now. Yes, up you get. Excellent. Those brown eyes lose all their innocence as Dr. Hesk lets her gaze linger over Gohan, of whom feels like she's ready to cut him open in a laboratory. Scary. You'll have all the time in the world with him from tomorrow, but for now he's still my patient and needs to rest after this ordeal. Dr. Jival ushers her out through the curtain and through the door. Gohan hears the lock click for good measure. Wait, I'm moving rooms then. Dr. Jival sets a steely gaze upon him, still sore from Gohan's earlier admittance of withheld information. He sighs. No, Gohan, you're leaving the spire. You're going home to the estate. The next day, Dr. Jival offers to wheel Gohan out of the spire on something akin to a wheelchair, but Gohan feels like he's got walking down now. Sure, it tires the heck out of him, but he's just happy to be able to stretch his legs. He's less happy about where he's being led, however. Leaving his private room in the spire had been both daunting and liberating. The rest of the spire is unsurprisingly as white and sterile as his room had been. There are less patients and staff wandering about than Gohan had expected, but it really does have the general feeling of any typical hospital. That lack of beeping from his machines unnerves him at first, and languages he doesn't know are being spoken in a variety of tones and volumes around him by a mixture of characters. Gohan had definitely been right from the get-go. This is no Earth. Aliens in many shapes and colors appear and disappear through doorways, some wearing the same doctor's robes as Dr. Jival. Earth is a closed planet, isn't it? Dr. Jival asks in light conversation, already knowing the answer. You don't really get many different races there, I'd imagine. Have you seen many aliens? You recognized the Namekian last week. My friend is a Namekian, Gohan tells him as they enter a lift. Dr. Jival presses something on the screen and Gohan feels them descend. So is our planet's guardian, another friend. But I think that's it. Oh, I guess there's my dad and Vegeta, what with them being Saiyans and all. Gohan has told Dr. Jival about his life back home, seeing little reason not to trust a man who'd returned him back to health. The doctor seems like a good man, patient too. You'll see a few more, no doubt. Dr. Jival leads them out of the lift once they stop, leading them out through a grand, pristine archway that Gohan supposes to be both the entrance and exit. An alien with orange skin, a single horn on the forehead, and wearing all white bowed to them as they leave. This place feels kind of fancy, Gohan says, staring at the orange alien bowing to another patient leaving the building. Yet they still can't offer a decent cup of coffee in the canteen. Come on, that's our driver. Quote. Dr. Jival whisks them from the porch and out onto a plaza just as white as the spire rooms themselves. Fountains spouting water as high as his house mirror one another, leading a pathway back to where they've just come from. An overcast sky leaning to dusk welcomes them as they come face to face with a human-looking person. He's leaning over his vehicle, one which is completely black and curved. He taps at the shiny exterior before giving a nod to the doctor. After a brief conversation with the driver about location, Dr. Jival gestures for Gohan to enter the vehicle. It's bigger inside than expected. With its black suave seating, it looks like something of a spy film he'd once seen. There's even a screen separating them from the driver. Whoa, so fancy. There aren't any seatbelts, Gohan goes on to say as he fumbles around looking for one. He turns to see Dr. Jival shaking his head, smiling one of those smiles that Gohan could practically hear. Oh, what a peasant planet you were on. Gohan sighs, feeling weary already. Going to this mysterious estate has been a great cause of stress for him all night long. If that Lord Quell's there, he shudders. For now he just needs to focus on proving who he is and getting home. There's no use in worrying. The vehicle provides a smooth ride, but Gohan is disappointed by the lack of windows. He wants to know more about this place. Why is everyone so intent on hiding it from him? Your chambers are in the north wing, Dr. Jival tells him, again. They've been over this several times now, but Gohan respects the doctor enough not to interrupt. Remember, the estate is divided into 4 wings. You'll want to save yourself a headache and not go into the West Wing, that's where Lord Quell resides. Lord Rixus is in the south. And the east. The doctor intakes a long gust of air. Rot worry lines trace down his temples and Gohan feels like he's just asked something he shouldn't have. The East Wing is empty. That had belonged to Lord Famus, but he's long gone now. He died, yes, many years ago. He'd been your second eldest brother. Gohan frowns. His reflection frowns back, gold simmering. Another brother. Yes. The teenager is dreading meeting them again, particularly that Lord Quell. He really gives Gohan bad vibes. His hand courses through black locks. Why is he so nervous? These were Mori's brothers, not his. Gohan has no reason to feel so put out. Yet, an image of the cold, terrifying Lord Quell flashes in his mind. He'd rather take on Cell or Majin Buu any day than face down that again. You'll be able to contact me whenever you need to. I'm your family doctor after all. You can also get in touch with Dr. Hesk. I'm sure she won't mind. Of course she won't. She wants to carve him up and put him in a beaker. Gohan hears the doctor chuckle as the man helps himself to a glass of water. Yes, she's quite invested in her work. A glass is offered to Gohan, who makes sure not to spill a drip onto his new robes. The doctor had delivered them to his room in the spire this morning and showed Gohan how to fasten the garments properly. His apparel now consists of a pair of stiff, form-fitting trousers and an equally stiff robe shirt, all gray. He's also draped in a long flowing cape which clips at the front. The cape feels particularly expensive in its heavy black material. Gohan remembers the cape he wore at the Cell Games not being constricting at all. Sure, it had been weighted, but it had also been highly maneuverable compared to what he's wearing now. But really, it had been Piccolo's proud expression that had made it worth wearing. Piccolo. It's only been a week but he misses them, all of them. He's gone weeks without seeing Piccolo before but now it feels different. At this point in time, he could really do with his teacher's guidance. Gohan swallows the thought and watches the bubbles in his water pop as the vehicle cues forwards. We're approaching the estate now. Already. Gosh. He feels sick again. There's been a mistake, Gohan tells the doctor quickly, who proceeds to ignore him and down the rest of his water. Gohan still remains untouched. We can go back to the hospital spire, whatever. We can go back there and figure it out. Hey now, don't be like that. Just stick to your wing and you'll be fine. The door opens by itself in one smooth motion, revealing that it's now in fact night time. Glows from warm yellow lamps illuminate the shrubbery and green surrounding a dirt path. The occasional chirp from a nearby bird can be heard. It seems they've dropped us off at the rear gate, comments Dr. Jivel, gravel crunching beneath his feet from the other side of the vehicle. No matter. It'll probably be easier this way anyway. Come on, Gohan, this way now. Gohan eyes the doctor, who's now bathed in the soft yellow tones of the outside lamps. Right. The gravel crunches under his boots too. Even in the dim light, Gohan can see the shiny glares of light shimmering from them. Whoever this Mori guy was, he apparently had expensive tastes. Well, of course, he's a lord. But of what? That part has always been absent in the conversations he and Dr. Jivel shared on the topic. Apparently Gohan's the god of mysteries because no one's telling him squat. The dirt path ends after they emerge through a huddle of tall looming trees. They're met with a stony path and a sinister-looking gate. It's so tall that Gohan can't see over the top. You'd think they'd open it for us, EY. Dr. Jivel says with uncharacteristic ease. His attempt at trying to lighten the mood is appreciated but not at all successful. Gohan hums in response, chest heavy. Hey, hey, hey. Through the glare of the lights adjoining the gate, two dangling boots can just about be seen swinging atop the wall. The boots slip down, the light running over the in sleek gloss in rapid movement. The person lands with a hearty thud and barrages forward. Gohan recoils in reaction. Lord Rixus, I've been waiting ages. What took you so long? He asks as he takes Gohan by the shoulders. Wow. There's absolutely zero restraint from the guy. His white blonde hair bounces as he positively vibrates in the teenager's presence. My lord, Dr. Jivel greets, using the formal voice Gohan first heard from the doctor last week. It sounds foreign on him now. However, there's also the tone of warning Gohan has now since become accustomed to. Please remember what we spoke about last night. The hands on Gohan's shoulders tighten. He's my brother, doctor. I'll look after him even if he's brain damaged. Hell, I'd look after him if he was a potato. If you say so, sir, he sighs, already looking winded from Lord Rixus' chaotic energy. Dr. Hesk will be by in the morning to do some mental exercises with Lord Mori. What happened to Gohan? The teenager frowns. He has a feeling that no one would use his chosen, real, name here. The hands from Gohan's shoulders drop as Lord Rixus faces the doctor. Anything else? Please be patient with him, Dr. Jivel insists. Perhaps give him some space. Lord Rixus' lips quirk, eyes smiling before his mouth even twitches. Two hands then sandwich Gohan's cheeks in a tight slap. Space. You're not a dog, are you? He pauses when he notices Gohan's held breath. Ha ha ha, you have no idea who I am, do you? I do forget. The young lord releases Gohan but not without a pinch to his left cheek. He's fiend. Lord Rixus tells Dr. Jivel intense expression, look at him. Epitome of health. Dr. Jivel ignores him and turns to Gohan. You'll be able to contact me from your chambers. There will be a private computer there. It's like a telephone, like we spoke about, remember? I'll answer right away. Gohan swallows, hardly remembering to use his words. Right. That seems to be good enough for the doctor, who then offers him the warmest smile Gohan has yet seen from him. Well, I'll be on my way then. The doctor takes one last fleeting look at Gohan, appearing to waver between leaning over and giving him a pat or just a simple wave. In the end, it's an awkward bow of the head that sees him off. Goodbye, my lords. Don't be sick. But, Dr. Jivel can't just leave him here. Right. Yet he does. Gohan watches as the doctor disappears through the trees and into the darkness. A hand clips Gohan's shoulder. Goddamn, aren't you just adorable now? Lord Rixus eagerly leads them through the gate and into the estate grounds. The darkness of night hides most of its features, but Gohan knows fancy when he sees it. He's been to Vital's mansion a handful of times. Her father has more money than he knows what to do with, and Gohan guesses it's the same here. The place just screams money. The door to the estate is a large metal antique. Engravings of beautiful patterns glow in the same soft lighting as outside the estate. Surprisingly, it swings open smoothly and without sound when Lord Rixus jostles with the knob. The reveal steals Gohan's breath. Shades of silver stand out first, then the bronze and copper. The room doesn't have the old-timey feel Gohan had originally expected, but instead it feels rich and modern. Beautiful artwork enhances the walls, acting as the backdrop to antiques of many varieties. Nearby is a shining, golden fireplace, not currently lit, and a little beyond that, plump, silver armchairs sit before a grand staircase. The staircase swirls through an open ceiling and onto many eternally expanding floors. Weird. Gohan hears Lord Rixus breathlessly laugh. I guess it's like your first time seeing this. It's nothing like my home on Earth. Lord Rixus stares briefly before offering Gohan his finest pearly white grin. If you're impressed by some moldy old stairs, I can't wait to show you to your wing. Gohan allows himself to be pulled along, assuming Lord Rixus to be the touchy type. For the first time, he actually feels bad about not being this guy's brother. The positivity radiating from him is contagious, and it reminds Gohan very much of his dad. When he finds out the truth, that I'm not his brother. He thinks of Goten, however, now brotherless. Ever since Goten had been a baby, Gohan's always been there. The amount of nappies Gohan's changed is more than any brother should have to deal with in one lifetime. Gosh, just how is Goten coping? Worse yet, how is his mother coping? They have to be alright, his dad is with them. Surely he'll be able to do what Gohan can't right now. He'll get back to them for sure. Lord Rixus takes Gohan on a further journey down long winding corridors. The stonework is older now, and the lights are becoming dimmer. The gold and silver of the lobby subtly transitions into dusty blues. This is from the wall hangings to the occasional armchair. They all look terribly expensive. Finally, they reach what Gohan assumes to be, destination. At the end of the corridor is another fine door, embellished and shiny. The engravings are similar to the ones on the front door. Patterns of lines and circles swirl around one another in a symmetric dance. It feels kinda weird going in first, Lord Rixus says with humor. He gives Gohan a shove towards the door. Go on. Gohan offers a look of mild horror, but is pushed again before he can argue. Just do it. He swallows and graces his fingers over the metal of the door. The handle is pretty stiff, but the door does eventually creak open, if a little eerily. The room is pitch black, running deep. Ha ha, you've come back as a right wuss, little brother. Lord Rixus laughs. Go on. Lord Rixus gives him a final push. Stumbling into the darkness, Gohan flinches as sudden buzzing sounds around him. It's comparable to a small group of cicadas humming in commendable unison. A click follows and then a dozen lights flicker on one after another. It isn't like the soft warm lighting of downstairs. It reminds Gohan of being in a shop, the kind of light that gives you a headache after a couple of hours being stuck in it. After the lights, the first thing Gohan notices is the rows of bookcases. Books are scattered along the bases of the shelves, fat ones, thin ones, some large, and others smaller than his palm. There are so many books that Gohan wouldn't even know where to start. I guess you like to read, huh, Mori? Beyond the small sea of books sits a dark wooden desk. On it, there is a reading lamp leaning over a stack of yellowed parchment. Several papers also litter along the floor, and what must be a computer with its large slightly curved screen, hides just behind the lamp. It looks like it hasn't seen any attention in a long time. A fine layer of dust grays out the blackness of the monitor. I'll talk to the cleaner about that, Lord Rixus grunts as he catches Gohan staring at the computer. It's a childish sound, reminding Gohan very much of Goten not getting his own way. Beyond the study area, Gohan really can see the grandness of the room. The ceilings are high, and the one window that is there is large and looks out over what must be the forest. Two of those silver armchairs are poised by the largest bed Gohan has ever seen in his life. It is in a poster style with silver and blue curtains draping over it in a sweeping fashion. The pillows are plump and look to be stuffed to the brim with feathers, neatly nestling between silver sheets. In fact, the whole room is a grand mix of the dusty blue he saw leading to the chambers and silver. It has a striking effect. The only thing that isn't silver is the bronze fireplace. That, too, is engulfed in beautiful engravings. It has the same circles and lines he'd seen on the door. It's the old writing form of Lanat tongue, Lord Rixus explains, giving the fireplace a fond pet. You've always been rather taken with it. The writing or the fireplace? Lord Rixus chuckles, the gold in his eyes lighting up. Both. Normally you wouldn't let me get close to this old thing. You always like to remind me that it's some rare antique. Gohan stares at it but can't find anything special other than its looks. I guess it's kinda pretty. The other man guffaws in response. Oh man, there was a time I would have paid to hear you say that. Gohan awkwardly shuffles as Lord Rixus continues laughing to himself. Laughing seems to be the man's default setting. He's so totally unlike Lord Quell. Are they actually even brothers? Lord Rixus, I was J. Whoa, no. Lord Rixus drops the chuckling, but keeps that wide smile he seems to enjoy wearing. His blonde white hair wobbles when he shakes his head. No, none of that. You're my brother, Mori. We don't say, Lord, our names will do quite nicely, okay. Gohan wants to tell Lord Rixus how mistaken the poor guy is, and that he's not Lord Rixus' brother, that this room is definitely not his, and that the mountain of books over there is clearly beyond him. Yet, Lord Rixus seems to read all that from his mind by just staring at Gohan's face. The doc said you're gonna work with us, Lord Rixus says, his tone not as light. There's an element reminiscent of chiding a child. So, call me, Rixus. A frown settles over Gohan's face, one which Lord Rixus notices in an instant. He flicks Gohan in the forehead. You can call me, Big Brother, if you want. Gohan's hand is quick to shield his forehead. That hurt. I have a feeling I would never have called you that. The grin returns. Then call me, Rixus. Rixus it is. At least Dr. Jivel had given him some time to sort things through his head. Lord Rixus expects him to just get on with it as though one just wakes up with a different life every day. Rixus' eyes grow. Oh, don't go calling Quell, Lord, either. I know he'd hate that. It's just kinda weird between us, you know. Not protocol. Right. That makes sense. He'd been pretty angry with me back at the Spire. Rixus quirks his head. Oh yeah, don't take it to heart. He's just like that, Yano. No, doesn't, it's frustrating. Here's one brother who seems to be so relaxed about the situation that he may as well be horizontal, and then there's Quell, the one who only seemed to visit him to insult and berate him. Gohan can't decide which he prefers. Talk about picking your poison. A thought hits him. Rixus. Mori. Not his name, but he's sure he'll have to get used to it. Our parents, will I meet them? Rixus' brows shoot up, the smile gone, but he still looks highly amused. He's silent for a while, and when Gohan goes to speak again, he's interrupted. We don't have parents. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, I mean, well, it's complicated. He sizes Gohan up before shaking his head and sighing. No, that doctor said to wait. We'll talk about that bit in the future, K. For now, know that you have two big bros who'll take care of ya. Rixus offers a cheeky wink. So, Mori didn't have parents. Or if he did, they were dead. Maybe. Who knew? Wait, I'm the youngest. Mori's the youngest, he corrects. Does that bother you? No, maybe, kind of. Well, it explains Rixus' constant hands-on approach. Gohan has to admit that he's pretty physically affectionate with Goten. A head pat here, a hug there. It's weird. I have a brother back home. Instead of correcting Gohan about being Mori, Rixus actually seems interested. The hair droops when he curtsies his head. Really? A kid brother? Yeah, ha. I couldn't imagine you interacting with a child, another thing I'd pay to see. Gohan gives a non-committal hum, feeling suddenly shy. He runs his fingers along the fireplace. It is pretty. You know, it's so weird, Rixus begins. He nestles himself into a plush-looking armchair as he gestures to Gohan with a wave. You look the same except for the hair, a bit skinny I guess, but otherwise you don't look any different really on the outside. But your personality is totally different. It's blowing my mind. Gohan drops his gaze. What the heck can he say to that? Rixus kicks the neighboring armchair as a sign for Gohan to sit down. He does sit, and the plushness of the chair pillows him in place. Gohan jumps when Rixax claps his hands together. So you had a brother? Have. Rixus snorts. Okay. You have a brother. What else? The doc said you had this whole other life on some nowhere planet. Earth. Right. How old are you? Have you got a family? Girlfriend? Gohan doesn't know what to answer first. It turns out that he doesn't need to because at that moment there's a knock at the door. Go away. Rixus calls out quickly. It's followed by another knock. They share a pause of silence, and Gohan briefly wonders if Rixus expects him to answer. It is his room. The third knock, now sounding impatient and louder in contrast, persuades Rixus to finally move. Fine, he grunts, springing up like a cat. Rixus touches Gohan on the shoulder as he passes. The simple sign of affection makes Gohan feel remarkably uncomfortable and a little guilty. Rixus seems so nice, if just a little too intense. He doesn't appear nice to whoever is at the door, however. It opens with an ungraceful swing, Rixus making sure to block Gohan from seeing this mystery guest. What? Rixus snaps, leaning against the doorframe. Gohan can't hear the other person or Rixus as they share what seems to be a heated but very quiet conversation. He cranes his neck to get a better look but is rewarded with very little. Gohan doubts it's the scary brother from the other day, Quell. Quell doesn't seem to be a person you would reject at your door. The person must have left because Rixus shuts the door. Gohan returns back into the embrace of the armchair and stares up at Rixus expectantly. Salesman, Rixus says with such a straight face that Gohan nearly believes him. He laughs and bats a hand. Nah, it's one of the staff, one of yours. But you'll see later. Baby steps were what the doctor ordered. Gohan doesn't believe that Rixus has ever heeded an order in his life, especially one from poor Dr. Jival. And another thing. I have staff. She's an assistant, he tells Gohan as he swings his legs over the arm of the armchair. Something about the action annoys Gohan for some reason. I have staff. Ha ha. Of course. I have servants too. You've met my assistant already, Captain Rorg. Who? The woman who delivered you to me. Tall one, built like an ox. Oh, the sensation of a braid slapping him across the face stings in memory. Gohan rubs his cheek on instinct. Yes, I remember her. Captain Rorg. Don't look like that. She's a riot after a drink, though saying that. I don't think you were overly fond of her before becoming a vegetable. Please don't say that. Rixus sniggers, his grin cutting so far up into his cheeks Gohan half expects him to turn into the Cheshire Cat. So touchy. After a beat, Gohan scratches the back of his head. Look, Rixus, I'm kind of tired. Say no more. He pounces up with his usual grin. There's a determined finger pointed right under Gohan's nose. You've gotta get your beauty sleep after all. Doc said you need rest, so that's what you'll get. I'll make sure of it. Alright. Leave it to your big brother, your favorite by the way. I'll be by in the morning, bright and early, so don't worry about a wake-up call. I've actually been looking forward to this all week since I finding out. Gohan doesn't like the sound of that. Finding out what? Rixus' eyes dazzle in their golden glory. Well, that you're sayin', of course. His hands slap together. Yes. Tomorrow you can show me all your moves. I want to see everything you can do. Hey, hold up. The doctor sigh. Saiyans love to fight. You must be itching for it after lying cooped up in that bed all week. Don't worry, little brother, I'll help you stretch your legs. Now hang on. Good night. Rixus gives him 2 reassuring thumbs up before plying the door open, slamming it behind him so hard that the room shakes. A pillow falls off the bed. The teenager groans, hands smothering his face. Just what has he gotten himself into? When Gohan had been a kid, he'd been a much heavier sleeper than he is now. Those typical school anxieties of studying for a test, or being late in the mornings, often have him tossing and turning midweek. Even before he'd started school, Gohan's sleeping had grown lighter and lighter. Sometimes he only gets 5 or 6 hours a night, 7 if he's lucky, which only begs the question, why the heck did Gohan just manage to sleep like a rock all the night through? Sure, he contemplates as he stares past the curtain's crack of light, This bed is like sleeping on a cloud consisting entirely of feathers, but he's still in a new place and Gohan should really be more cautious than this. The bed then draws him in deeper, blues and silvers nestling softly against his skin with its padded luxury as if to persuade him otherwise. Gohan groans, flagging into its silky embrace. Gosh, it's so good. He's only ever seen something like this in movies, beds so huge and spreading so wide that Gohan could roll over thrice and still not fall off. Being treated to its cushy glory makes him believe that those movies have never done it justice. Then it's all ruined with a knock at the door. Gohan stiffens, unsure what to do. He's only in his underwear after not being able to find where Mori keeps his night clothes last night, and considering how long it took him to learn how to fasten his robes yesterday, he may as well not bother answering the door for another hour. When the knock comes again, the teenager wilts even more into his bedding. There's only one more knock, one which yet again goes ignored, making Gohan feel guilty as a following silence lingers on afterwards. Whoever it was must have gone now because the teenager can't hear or sense anyone beyond the walls. Actually, Gohan can't sense anyone, period. There's an uncomfortable flatness of ki around him, making him wonder if the realm of the Almighty holds a special ability that conceals people's energy readings. After being able to feel the intricacies of individuality in people's ki for so long, it feels kind of weird not being able to do so now, maybe a bit lonely if he's honest. Now feeling it's safe to do so, Gohan slips out from his nest of covers. His toes tap against the cool of wood and he admires his surroundings. There'd been little chance to last night, what with Rixus hovering around. After he'd left, Gohan had crashed immediately, soaking into the bed and floating through the night in comfortable bliss. Now that he's looking around the room, he can see how truly big it is. The sea of bookshelves, the cool blues and silvers of the fabrics complementing the forever sprawling walls, really, it's something to look at, especially with all the different alcoves leading who knows where. There's a nook hidden behind the fireplace, one Gohan hadn't noticed last night, and home to a stash of papers and instruments the teenager can't recognize with their strange shapes and colorful designs. Beyond them, scattered pens and books lay askew on the floor. The urge to pick them up and clean overcomes him and he spends the first 10 minutes of his morning clearing up Mori's clutter. What a messy guy, Gohan comments as he fishes a dust-clad book from under a desk. He picks up several, but this one really stands out to him. Even under the layers of gray, Gohan can see the shiny gloss of letters wink back him. They protrude from the cover, feeling bumpy to the touch, and when he opens it, dust takes to the sky in a sheeted cloud, causing Gohan to splutter and cough into the crook of his elbow. When the smog clears, he flicks through the fragile pages. The content is dense with minuscule scrawl he wouldn't be able to decipher even if he was able to write in Lanat tongue. Words curve in around diagrams and complicated drawings, some of which have been labeled in even smaller, messier writing. One picture he's able to recognize is of an abstract drawing of a humanoid-like figure, one standing adjacent a box of text in its crude silhouette. A swooping tail flows from behind its back. Saiyan. Suddenly, there's another knock at the door. Gohan drops the book and the collection of pencils. Instead of a knock, it's a loud banging. I'm coming. He'd completely forgotten that someone had earlier been calling for him. It sounds serious now, unhappy. Could it be Rixus, or worse yet, could it be Quell? Gohan grabs the cloak he'd folded up last night, throwing it over him for modesty's sake. As he goes to answer the door, something in his gut tells him to secure the notebook. He does so, hiding it under a stack of intimidating-looking books near the nook. Once he's fumbled with the lock, the door swings open outwards with a dramatic flail and the person on the other side can be heard crying out from the shock. His hands reach out. I'm sorry. Are you all right? I'm sorry, replies the knocker, one Gohan quickly recognizes as one Dr. Hesk. Her face is bright red and she looks so dizzy that she might just fall over right then and there. I was told to come knock again, but this time louder because you might still be asleep. But then once I started knocking, I just couldn't stop, and that must have sounded like something crazy in there because you had to have ran from wherever you were in your room, which I know is private, but still whoa there. You're talking way too fast. I'm sorry. I just, are you okay? Yes, sorry. Yes, my lord. No, I mean I forgot, you don't like that. Gohan considers her, scratching the back of his head. Still growing ever redder, the poor doctor just stares back, zapped. Her eyes close and a long stream of air leaves through her nostrils. Okay. Let's try this again. Good morning, I'm H here to check up on you as Dr. Jivel requested, and I'm here to perform some examinations. Oh, sure. They both stand there for a moment until Gohan realizes that he should probably invite her in. Oh, I'm sorry. After you. Oh, no. Gohan's wrong. It's definitely after him. She doesn't budge an inch until the teenager awkwardly shuffles backwards into Mori's room. After he shuts the door behind her, he leads her back to where he and Rixus had been sitting last night. Next to the two armchairs there sits a deep blue sofa. It faces the fireplace in wonderful opposition to the bronze and looks to be far older than Gohan. He gestures her to sit there and she does without question. The doctor has a decently sized book with her. Flashes of paper appear from various angles under a prim cover, contrasting the surrounding antique books of Mori's room. She places it on the coffee table in front and stares up at him with tinted cheeks. I can wait for you too. Gohan tilts his head. Huh? What? Her eyes trail down to his bare chest. It's peeking out from the badly tied robe. Okay. Yes, okay. His face burns. Doctor or not, this is still a young woman. Gohan should know better. He awkwardly bounds into the more private section of the space, nearing the bed but stopping short of the huge wardrobe and mirror. You really are a fancy lord, huh? It's far more extravagant than Gohan's ever seen, even at Vitals. The wardrobe opens up to a fine selection of robes and cloaks. They're shaded in rich and dark colors, with the brightest garment being an optimistic shade of purple. With creaks, they slide across the railing as Gohan looks for something that may be easy to wear. Buttons and clips of varying difficulty face back and he feels himself pale. Finally, the teenager spots a baggy pair of dark pants hidden at the back. There's a silver top to go with them, one which luckily sits on the top of a folded gold obi, one patterned with that familiar horse silhouette. Gohan closes his eyes and thanks his lucky stars. The fit is pretty good actually. The pants are only a little long, but the top fits perfectly. It's maybe a bit too tight for Gohan's taste, reminding him unpleasantly of Namek and clingy spandex, but otherwise he counts it as a win. Sorry about that, he says as he emerges from the curved partition. The doctor looks less red, glaring hard at the book on the table. No, this is your room. You could walk around here if you she looks up at him, flustered, just to stop mid-sentence. Her words desert her as she appraises his newly chosen outfit, and then she says something which makes his stomach sink. Oh, you really do look like him in his colors. Gohan's brows knit together and his mouth opens. She catches the disappointment and clasps a hand over her mouth. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was really unprofessional of me. He wrings his hands together and lowers himself into the armchair facing her. No, it's fine, I guess. I think I'm going to have to get used to it at some point. Right, she replies, sounding unsure. Another deep breath is taken. She's really nervous, the teenager notices. Just what kind of guy was Mori to be able to strike this level of fear into someone? Was it just Mori? Because even Dr. Jivel seemed nervous at the idea of Quell, and he'd played formal with Rixus when he'd dropped Gohan off at the estate last night. Who the heck are these brothers? Gohan takes the initiative. So my name's Gohan, and I'm from planet Earth. I know Dr. Jivel told you a bit about me, but I thought it'd be nice to start from the beginning seeing as we're going to working together. Can you tell me anything about yourself? The smile he offers seems to calm her just a bit. She folds over, leaning on her knees as she responds in kind. Of course, my lore, Gohan. Let me see, my name is Hesk of the 7th, and I was assigned as a doctor at the Spire Infirmary nearly 15 years ago. 15 years ago. Zhu. Oh, wait, years are recorded differently here. Ah, sorry, continue. Please continue. Dr. Hesk actually smiles. Yes, I believe we use different measurement systems. I'm sure you'll become accustomed to our system in due time. So are you from around here? Oh no, I'm from a small planet in the East Quadrant, nearing the Central Universal Station. You know where that is? No. Oh, well, it's quite a modern planet, one I miss, but you can't really say no when you're handpicked by gods to work in the realm of the Almighty, can you? Gohan leans forward. Huh, what do you mean? Her eyes widen. Oh, sorry. I need to be more careful with my words. Dr. Jivel said. Handpicked by gods. She appears sheepish. The robe around her knees comes together as she knocks her legs. We're in a sacred place. The realm of the Almighty only lets few registered mortals in. I'm one of those mortals. It's standard to choose special mortals for their knowledge in whatever specialist field they excel in. I work with patients who have magical related memory issues mostly, but I also happen to be a gifted researcher too. He remembers her face from the other day. It had bubbled in excitement at the mere prospect of analyzing him. And this Mori guy, Lord Mori, is a residing god in this realm, one of several which exist both in this realm and outside of it. And what's he a god of? Dr. Hesk's forehead creases thickly behind a fringe of brown. I shouldn't really say at this stage, not until we unearth some prior memories or personality quirks. It's like a cold smack to the face. Personality. What do you mean? It's just part of the parcel, Gohan, she explains. Most reincarnated patients just experience cases of deja vu now and then. He has to remind himself that he's not actually this Mori guy, and so he doesn't need to worry, but there's something about the entire thing which makes him feel uncomfortable. His arms fold up neatly against his chest, less out of defiance and more out of an awkward reaction. You really do think I'm Mori, huh? The doctor quirks her lips at him. If we're going off your records, then yes. You know I don't agree, right? She nods and then proceeds to open up the book before her. Her fingers trail the bent corners of yellowing documents, and she looks between Gohan and the pages as she speaks. I'm not here to prove one thing or another. The truth will become the result of the exercises we'll work on together, and we'll know down the line whether or not you're actually the reincarnated soul of Lord Mori. But you think he's still rattling about my brain. There's a plucking of paper from the book and she turns, looking up with an anxious smile, one which hides the fire of burning scientific curiosity. I sure hope so. So the activities start off small and non-threatening. Gohan is tasked with recounting small details about his life, the minuscule day-to-day moments which make up his fairly mundane routine. He can't help but excitedly tell her the stories of the great Saiyaman when that comes up, but her reaction is hardly worth his build-up dramatics. You don't think it's cool? She doesn't say anything and just scribbles something down in her notebook, smiling blandly. With much ado, next he talks about his history with martial arts, key and just general experiences with the wickedly strong. You went up against Frieza. She says, pen flattening against the page. Yeah, I was young, so some of it is a bit blurry these days. That's impressive for a mortal. Gohan's brows drop. She's said that numerous times now, as though mortals aren't anything worth writing home about, like the only people deserving of strength are the gods themselves. He doesn't say anything because it's not really his place. Once this is all straightened out, then he can go home and get on with his wonderfully mortal life. Okay, My next question, let's see here. Oh, Gohan, have you ever experienced any blackouts? Blackouts. Like from fighting. Dr. Hesk runs the pen along her lips. No, more like bouts of missing memory. Maybe you've been fighting and things get too much and bam, you wake up and you don't know what's just happened. The effect is immediate. His lips roll inwards and his eyes bulge, and before he can hide the reaction, she waves her pen at him. Oh, do tell. It wasn't like that, he brushes off. I've always had a special kind of power within me. It often came out when my friends were in danger or something bad just happened. The hungry look about her has returned in full force, but he's having none of it. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. The Elder Kai unleashed the power within me. I'm stronger for it now. The Kais. Yes. I've been trying to tell you guys but no one's listening, but I know the Supreme Kai. He's a friend. If someone could put me in touch with him, then this could all easily be resolved. Dr. Hesk coughs into her hand, quick to appear uneasy. She then writes a long paragraph in her notebook in her neat and pointed handwriting. Gohan can't read any of it, but by her expression the content isn't good. In fact, there's a confliction about how she progresses her next paragraph, practically killing the teenager as he waits in apprehension. What? He asks when he can't take it anymore. Just what is it? What's wrong about knowing the Kais? Nothing. She slams the book shut. Pa, like he can read it anyway, don't worry about it. It's just worth noting that you've had experience with Kai magic. Okay, let's leave that there. Tell me about these blackouts. When was the last time you had one? Most people generally stop around childhood. Gohan's lips pull tight. Yeah, probably around about 9 or 10, I'd say. Childhood. And you remember nothing at all from these events? I'm told about what happened after, but nothing. No. Dr. Hesk aims the pen back in his direction. Did anyone note any personality changes in you during these times? It's like she's asking all the right questions to trip him up. He sighs raggedly as he scratches the back of his head. It's all getting a bit annoying now. Is this really necessary, Doctor? With all due respect, I long ago dealt with this side of myself. My dad and Piccolo really helped me learn how to overcome these hurdles, and with the help of the Elder Kai I finally managed to unlock this hidden power. She hums non-committedly. Okay then, well, let's leave this here today, Gohan. He blanches. Huh, what? Already? We've spoken a lot about your past today and I want you to consider what we've just spoken about. The doctor rises from her chair and collects her things. In the meantime, before tomorrow's session, I want you to try and recollect the strong emotions you were feeling before your blackouts as a child. I know it might be difficult, but I'd appreciate it if you tried. Gohan goes to follow her to the door. But we didn't do anything other than talk. I thought you'd want me to do some hypnosis stuff or something. Are we really finished for the day? Yes, she replies, somewhat amused. The process will take longer than a day, sir. I'm never going to get home at this rate. And, Dr. Hesk continues as she reaches for the door handle. There's not much more we can accomplish if you're so closed off to the idea of being Lord Mori. Cooperation will help us seek the truth. His cheeks burn. He doesn't mean to come across rude, yet it's hard to be passionate about something you don't believe in. The doctor then bows, stirring discomfort in his stomach, before exiting through Mori's chamber doors. They close with a resounding clink and he's once again left alone, that is until Rixus comes knocking at his door a further 20 minutes later. Rixus had excitedly dragged Gohan out of the confines of Mori's room the moment he got the chance. Starry-eyed, he'd first admired the teenager in the GI before routing around the wardrobe and chucking a pair of black boots at him. It's a bit of a shame because Gohan had been somewhat enjoying himself at the time, exploring the grand quarters and peering through the dust-clad books. Now that's a sight I'm used to, Rixus had said upon spotting Gohan perusing a brick-like book. After being pried from the haven, Gohan is then led through the estate and into an impressive garden. It spans far into the distance, meeting the morning horizon with a soft kiss of green and yellow. The earlier seen forest from last night goes on just as immeasurably. The dewy specks glisten atop trees and fields of emerald as the sun peeks behind branches and vines. It's a breathtaking sight, one which makes him yearn for his mountain home and his family. Passing through a thick of trees and vast collection of flowers, Gohan's next led to where he can just about make out the flow of a river. He soon hears the hush of water as they approach. "I've barely slept," Rixus says as he stops near the bank. He'd been carrying a bag with him filled with water and what Gohan recognizes as nutrition bars. They come in a vast amount at the spire. One of these bars is thrown to Gohan before the man helps himself to one. "I've been super excited to see what you can do. I'm not sure if this is a good idea." Rixus appears affronted. "And why not?" A finger jabs into Gohan's chest and he grins. "I refuse to let you take this from me." The teenager's brows knit together. "Let's warm up," Rixus says after a bout of stretches. "I wanna see your hand-to-hand stuff first." For some reason the teenager's got a bad feeling about this. That feeling is justified when Gohan kisses the dirt for the third time in a row. The warm-up is hardly such a thing, what with Rixus wasting zero time in pummeling Gohan at every given opportunity. Gohan's never seen anything like this. Sure, he's never prided himself on being the strongest warrior out there, but Gohan knows that he's no pushover. The fight with Boo, despite losing, proved that even his dad doesn't hold back. But now, streams of red pulse out from Gohan's deeply inflicted cuts across the bridge of his nose. He spits out the phlegmy taste of metal as he gazes up at his opponent. I thought Saiyans were strong," then complains Rixus. With rapt horror, Gohan realizes that there's not even a bead of sweat from atop the man's forehead. "This guy." The teenager swivels in the dirt. He jumps up in attempt to land his boot into the man's ribs. Rixus catches it as though he'd just been tickled with a feather. "Is a monster. You've got girly legs." Gohan twists hard and manages to kick Rixus in the neck. The brute doesn't move, but he does, however, laugh. He laughs and laughs as he twirls Gohan around like a mid-air ballerina, all before launching the teenager back down into the dirt. Gohan skids even further than before. "Ooh!" Rixus goads, clapping his hands. "Bravo! That almost hurt. I think if you keep it up you may actually give me a cramp." They've been swapping strikes for the last 40 or so minutes. It hadn't taken Gohan long to realize how severely outmatched he is. This guy is something else. It's like going against a tank when you're riding a bicycle. Each punch swung is enough to make the teenager's head explode. There are ballads about Saiyans, folk songs, legends, stories, all sorts of things. I've never met a real Saiyan though. I've gotta say that I'm kind of disappointed. This is pointless. Gohan tells him, "You're just too strong. What's the use?" Mori. He wags his finger, clicking his tongue and shaking his head like a disappointed father. "What a poor attitude you have. Don't you think you should try harder? You're a god. I'm not exactly a good enough match for you, am I?" Hogwash excuse. Get up. I can sense that you're stronger than this pitiful performance. You've never been one for the physical prowess of fighting, but you are a talented ki user. Rixus. Gohan grunts as he drags himself up. Dr. Jivel would be so annoyed if he could see him now. He'd told Gohan to avoid physical activities, yet here he is, Rixus' personal punching bag on this fine morning. Rixus. Come on, you're clearly leagues above me here, and the doctor did saw. You're so lazy. Rixus chides. Saiyans are supposed to enjoy the thick of a fight. I'm half. Oh, and what's your other half? Sloth. Human. He tells the lumbering concoction of energy. Humans live on Earth. Gohan then stretches his legs out, frowning. They're not girly at all. Human. Rixus tests out. Human. Human. He then can't help but laugh at the strange faces Rixus makes with his childish attempts. Funnily enough, Rixus reminds Gohan a lot of his dad in some ways. He's a positive kind of guy, upbeat and fun. There's an air of not taking things too seriously, and there's also the boundless supply of energy that comes with him. Unlike his dad, however, comes something needier and deeper. He's caught Rixus staring at him at least a few times just this morning, staring at him as though Gohan might just disappear any second. He's just happy to have his brother back. That thought doesn't ease him. Okay. Rixus begins, your form sucks. Sorry, it does. He punches a fist against his hand. I hate it and we'll have to change it. Gohan bristles. What? I'm not changing anything. And why not? I just told you that it sucks. Another thing Gohan's discovered with this guy, somehow he just manages to say all the right things to get a reaction from him. My dad and my teacher helped me Yeah, and they must suck too. Something in his forehead twitches and Gohan has to swallow his bubbling anger. My dad's the strongest person I know. Rixus, like a puppy, tilts his head, looking as innocently lost as Goten would be over a maths equation. But, you know me now. So arrogant. Really, it's like he's doing it on purpose, but Gohan truly suspects this guy is just that full of himself. As he completes another batch of stretches, the man flashes Gohan his shiniest smile whilst the teenager just steams and bites his tongue. Talk about being thick-headed. Gohan's not sure how much longer he can take of this guy without losing his mind. He's never been very good at dealing with characters like Rixus. They drain him. Smearing the blood away, he gazes back over the glorious landscape to try and take a minute for himself. With the sun waking up fully, the area is gleaming with a renewed kind of beauty. The lilac of the sky is almost too rich to look at as it backdrops the rolling hills and spots of greenery. It's nice, right? Gohan turns back to see Rixus softly smiling, no longer hungry for chaos. The gold flecks catch the sun and the man shines like the god he is. It's calming to look at. I thought the same on the planet of the Kai's the sky, I mean. What color is it on your Earth? Blue on a good day, but usually it's gray where I live. Sounds depressing. Gohan sighs, brows pressing low. It's beautiful there. Earth is beautiful. The man gestures upwards to the sky with a nod. And here, how about the realm of the Almighty? The estate. The teenager knows Rixus is looking for a particular answer. There's no use in deceiving the guy. With a titter, he replies, yeah, it's pretty. A pause passes and then Rixus snorts a laugh. His eyes are bright as he mimics Gohan's tone, pretty, huh? With a forming headache, Gohan wants to thump the guy, but is grabbed by the back of the scruff before he can do anything. Okay, princess, let's continue this before you start breaking into song about the birds and the flowers. The teenager feels his head really pound. What a piece of work you are. Age 780. Mount Paozu, Earth. Goten's son doesn't like many a thing. He doesn't like English class, he doesn't like leaks, and he certainly doesn't like homework. But there are really only a few things which he hates. Training is one of those things. Call him lazy, call him whatever, Goten didn't ask to be born a half Saiyan. The fact that he can fly is pretty cool. That comes in use sometimes, and the super strength can be helpful, but really, Goten would trade it all for a normal life any day. If being super powered comes with all the baggage he has to deal with, then no thanks. He slouches against his school bag as he sits atop the plush of a floating yellow cloud. The ever-loyal Nimbus cushions him as they glide over mountaintops and trees. Angrily, the summer heat has discolored some of the trees' upper leaves an unhappy brown, parching them without the usual humidity. Rain is long overdue and Goten half expects there to be a thunderstorm around the corner any day now. He wonders, daring to hope, if the thunderstorm will strike whilst he visits his dad. Any reason to skirt out of training sounds wonderful to him. When the mausoleum appears in its hub of trees and overgrown grass, Nimbus knowingly descends. "Thanks, bud," Gohan says to the little cloud as he jumps off. Nimbus rejoices, giving Gohan the show of a flip before flying up and disappearing against the blue. Gohan sighs, pulling his backpack up as he opens the front door. As usual, it's unlocked. "Dad," he calls. An empty hallway faces back. "Dad, are you home?" "Of course not." Gohan groans when he notices a pile-up of letters by the door. Usually the cleaner would at least put them in the kitchen where Gohan would go through them to see what's junk and what's not. For being in the middle of nowhere, his dad gets a surprising amount of mail. The teenager suspects that the letters are still on the floor because yet another cleaner quit. They usually do after a few months, becoming sick of cleaning up the trails of blood weeping from his dad's wounds after his more vigorous training sessions. Gohan flicks through the letters as he makes his way to the kitchen. Junk, junk, junk. Pizza coupons. Who would actually deliver pizza out here? Jesus, he might just give them a call tonight just to see what happens. When Gohan arrives to the kitchen, he knows that the last cleaner must have indeed quit. Bandages lay strewn across the tiled floor, splodges of blood tell a journey of a man hurrying to and from the kitchen sink, and Gohan even spots bloodied used rags littering the area near the bin. He grimaces. The attempt to put them in the bin hadn't even been made. Yes, Gohan thinks, he would have quit too. Hopefully Bulma has someone else that would be willing to take the journey all the way out here. Unceremoniously, he throws the letters down against the red stain on the counter. Gohan knows a lost cause when he sees one and so just heads up to his room. A lingering smell of dust accompanies him as he creaks up the stairs. His room, at least, is respectfully clean. It's not tidy, but it's clean. There's a difference. Gohan throws his backpack on his bed and contemplates the sparse belongings about his room. Many of his childhood toys still live here, and there is a collection of books and boxed games he used to enjoy. Yes, apart from a handful of things, there isn't much here to reflect his teenage self. Yet, Gohan doesn't bother bringing any of his stuff from Fire Mountain here, even though it would help with the boredom. It's just too much effort for how little time he actually spends in this rotting museum. His phone is the real hero of this story. Thank God for online streaming, when the internet even works out here. However, after staring at his lock screen for a good 5 minutes, Gohan finds he can't concentrate on much of anything at all. After managing to persuade his mother that he needed the phone for homework purposes, he'd managed to bring it. Yet, he can't even bring himself to use it. He closes his eyes slowly. School today had been just awful. On any normal day he'd be more thankful that it's Friday, but Goten's been dreading this day all week after his mother sentenced him to training with his dad. Whilst the newly graded maths test sits unhappily in his bag with a fat F written in the corner, this hadn't been the worst news of the day. He sulks, scowling as he draws his curtains closed. Vital had sent out her wedding invitations this afternoon. It took 3 or 4 times of Goten reading it for it to seem real. For a start, he can tell that Vital had zero input on then invitations because they're far too classy and pink for them to come across as anything remotely her. It must have been her friend, the ditzy one, what's she called? Arasa. She must have been the one to put this together, and he blames her because he hates everything from the horrible script writing to the nasty color used for the font. Most importantly, however, what he really hates is the groom's name. Haruto Orange. Seriously. His last name is Orange. Goten seethes as he flops onto his bed. His bag jumps in greeting, the test paper falling out just to spite him. He throws it in the bag against the wall before curling up against the mountain of stuffed bears of which still live atop his bed. Vital shouldn't be getting married. It's not right. It's too soon. Besides, Goten L. The door bangs open. You're here, Dad. Finally, his dad goes on to say, "Come on, let's get going before it starts to rain." Dad has clearly been training already. His clothes are astonishingly filthy and Goten spots the hint of blood sporting beneath the fabric of his GI. The guy's relentless. When Goten hides his head under his pillow, he feels the man tugging at his legs. "No getting out of it today, kiddo," Goten hears his dad say, slightly muffled courtesy of the lump of fabric over his ears. He kicks out and buries his head deeper. "Nah, your mum specifically said that you've gotta come out and train with me today." But the we either. A little water's never hurt anyone. Goten uncovers his head. "Maybe you should tell that to yourself. When was the last time you were even home? You smell like a locker room." His dad drops his legs and goes to scratch at the back of his head, appearing sheepish. "I guess it's been a while. This week I was training in Deadman's Desert and that's pretty far from here. Showers are kinda hard to come by in a desert, you know." Goten pinches at the bridge of his nose. "Deadman's Desert. It's not as bad as it sounds. I didn't see any dead people." "Right, look, Dad, I'm not going anywhere with you until you take a bath or a shower." His dad pouts. We're just gonna get mucky again." Goten gives him a firm look. Fine, fine. But when I'm out of the shower, you've gotta be ready to leave. Pack an overnight bag." "What? No. That wasn't the plan." Dad flashes him his cheekiest grin before disappearing through the door, smell lingering. Goten groans when he hears the shower running. He wouldn't even be able to call his mum and get her to talk his dad out of it because this is supposed to be a punishment. She'd just tell Goten to suck it up and think about his previous actions. What a joke. Just to add insult to injury, the teenager notices the first specks of rain flicker against the window. Dark gray looms in the backdrop. "I'd pack waterproofs, but what's the point? Dad'll just destroy them as usual." This is why Goten doesn't have nice things. A sigh leaves him as he considers the pile of burnt and holy clothing residing in the corner of his room. Knowing he doesn't want his current outfit to become the next victim, Goten changes into one of his dad's GIS. Dad's wardrobe is full of them. Orange after orange, the guy is like a cartoon character. His dad comes into the room, laughing as he tightens his own obi around a fresh pair of GI pants. "Still too big for you, huh?" Goten looks in the mirror. The trousers pool around his feet. "I'm sure you'll singe the bottoms off by the end of today anyway," Goten replies a bit unkindly. Dad doesn't hear the tone and laughs again, thinking it is a joke. "Ha ha, maybe. Perhaps I could ask Piccolo to make you some training clothes. I don't want you trip up on the bottom bits again." "Oh, that sounds great. I'm sure he loves being your personal tailor." The man scratches the back of his head, finally having the decency to look somewhat ashamed. "Bulma only sends me 15 new GIS every month now. She refuses to send any more. What can I do? Stop destroying them." Goten doesn't say it, but he really wants to. He can imagine Piccolo's consistently sour expression only worsen as his dad grovels for the Namekian's handiwork. Of course, Goten doesn't have to wait too long to see such reaction because, with great enthusiasm, Goten is later presented to Piccolo. His dad's request holds awkwardly in the air as the three of them stand in a clearing of the forest. The rain is moderately heavy now. Goten and his overnight bag are already soddened, as are both his dad and Piccolo, though neither seem to mind. In fact, his dad's never looked sunnier. "Can't he just wear yours?" Piccolo grumbles. "That's what I said," Goten adds. "Come on, Piccolo, help us out here." Piccolo sneers a monstrous sound. He eyeballs Goten with growing dislike, something not new to the teenager, and the exact reason Goten hadn't wanted to bother Piccolo with this in the first place. "If I had clothes magic, I'd use it all the time," his dad unhelpfully says, as though it could actually persuade his friend. "I'd be making all sorts of clothes for everyone and myself." "Goku, you'd be really helping us out here, Piccolo." Piccolo looks like he couldn't care less about helping anyone out. His green lip is pulled high, appearing as though he's currently sniffing something foul in the air. I'm not a damn seamstress. Goten folds his arms, awkward. He hates it when the two bicker. Rain pelts down uncomfortably as the little remaining light starts to be consumed by thick clouds of gray-black. By the time his dad unsurprisingly gets what he wants, once again the dark night sky has fully presented itself. It looks to physically pain Piccolo to give Goten some clothes. Energy washes over him in a sharp splash and he feels the ruffle of material sway around him. When the energy and its light fades, the orange and blue of a fresh GI can just about be seen against the darkness. This time the GI fits comfortably. Thanks, Goten says to the Namekian just for it to go ignored. Piccolo does offer a cutting glare at his father though, one his dad returns with a grin. Part of the teenager thinks that dad must enjoy winding Piccolo up just so he can get a better response whilst sparring. He wouldn't put it past the man. Now that's dealt with, I'd say that we're ready to get the show on the road. Goten hears a rumble of thunder in the distance. Great timing. His dad then powers up to Super Saiyan. The gold flash is almost too much to look at against the shadowy night. The hum of energy circulates the area as the shine of power illuminates. Goten follows suit, transforming and feeling the swirl of ki boost to the next level. It's easy for him to ascend, it's always been easy. He's never understood the emotional hurdles apparently needed to attain the power. Dad had told him the story of Namek, and of how it took the death of his best friend for him to be able to transform into the legend. It's not much of a legend considering that both he and Trunks had managed it without too much effort, though Trunks did once say that it had been hard for Vegeta to do it. It had been hard for him too. Goten slaps at his cheeks, jumping on the spot. There's no point thinking about that at a time like this. You've gotten weaker, Piccolo then points out. Goten frowns as the rain slaps down. We haven't even started yet. Even worse that I can sense it so easily then. What's your problem? Dad is quick to intervene. He steadies Goten's rolling shoulder with a hand. Hey, come on guys, let's not do this again. I'm sure Goten's been training back at Fire Mountain like he said he would, right? Piccolo snorts and the sound makes Goten see red. Why yeah, I have, the teenager snaps. His dad smiles and claps him on the back. Piccolo looks less sure, giving him a hard and long look. Those beady eyes of his narrow something ugly. It's been like this for a while between them. Goten can't really remember when it used to be better, but he knows it must have been. Around the time of Buu, Piccolo had spent plenty of time training him and Trunks to face the monster. As stressed as the Namekian had been, he still hadn't been unkind to Goten, yet for the longest time now Piccolo's been short with him, quick to snap at him, even going as far to avoid being near him. Whatever Goten's done must have pissed the guy off something fierce. Still, his dad tries to encourage these spar dates between them at any given opportunity. Okay, son, you can sit the first one out as Piccolo and I stretch our legs. Why don't you keep a close eye on our footwork? I noticed last time that you've gotten kinda sloppy with it. Right, sure, watch me, okay. And he does, for a bit. Goten takes shelter under one of the larger evergreen trees neighboring the clearing, hating the dripping of water splashing across his forehead as it continues to shower. The hiss of weather is only broken from the sounds of energy whooshing around the grassland. Gold zips about, acting as his dad's usual chaotic but tight form, literally running circles around Piccolo as they exchange fists. The footwork is far beyond Goten. He's always been bad at it. Anything that requires rhythm and precision involving Goten's two left feet is a lost cause. Bad dancing is a Sun family trait, but Goten feels like he's exceptionally bad, enough so that he's actually broken a girl's toe at a school party when he took a turn too fast. It's fair to say that Goten didn't get her number after the incident. When a stray ki blast sets a nearby bush on fire, Goten jumps. Are you watching? Goten. The teenager scratches the back of his head, a clumsy smile dawning his face as his dad studies him. It's not returned. You're not gonna get any better if you don't watch. Goten doesn't care about getting better. He hates training. What's the point in all this? What? To protect the earth. His dad is the strongest person alive. No one is ever going to be able to even touch him. The teenager groans, scraping his soaked back into a messy pile of tangles. You guys are too fast for me to see. I told you that he's not interested. Goku, bitterly intervenes Piccolo, unwelcome. He's a bit more beat up than a short while ago. A nasty cut lip bleeds purple, and even through the rain Goten can spot a sprouting bruise. Just leave him to play on that miniature computer of his. Goten palms the outline of his phone from within his bag out of reaction. His dad notices, and so his frown pulls tighter. You know, Goten, I do think you spend too much time on that thing. You're gonna make your muscles turn to jelly if you're not careful. Goten turns away, trying his utmost best not to roll his eyes. Piccolo would throw him through a mountain if he saw. I haven't even touched it out here. I've been watching like you asked. Piccolo clicks his tongue, and his dad looks equally as uncertain, which annoys Goten to no end because it is the truth. I haven't. Whatever you say. Sheepish, Dad scratches at the back of his head. His awkward nature does eventually placate Goten, especially when the big goof gives him that lopsided grin of his. Geez, talk about making a guy feel guilty. A hand reaches towards Goten. Say, why don't you come and show me what you've got then? Equally awkward, Goten offers a small smile and takes the upturned palm. Sorry, I didn't mean to snap or wait, you know what, sure. Okay, let's do this. Good thing Goten is still transformed because his dad gives him zero breathing room. From the moment he takes that hand, the teenager is whisked from the comfort of his shelter and into the brutality of the storm. There's a roar of thunder as Goten dodges his dad's first strike, his typical starting move of punching Goten in the gut. It's always performed in dutiful expectation because when Goten had been really little, it had always been the thing to send him down. But it's different now. He grabs a hold of his dad's stretched arm and pulls hard. The Saiyan falters but doesn't fall down, instead twisting and planting his boot into Goten's calf. It's another testing move because his dad knows how terribly he performs after taking a knock to the leg. With already bad footwork, it only worsens. Crap. Goten swears he hears his dad laugh, but he's too focused on not taking a second hit to be sure. By the time the teenager notices his father's goofy face grinning away, he's already weaving between punches. One clips him in the shoulder, knocking him askew in the line of attack. His dad is quick to react. His leg furies forward and Goten is swept from under his feet, plummeting to the ground and into a pool of wet dirt. His dad goes to pull him up. Wake up, wake up. Get your head in the game. Goten's now completely covered in mud. It's like tar from the rain, suctioning his bottom back down as he's dragged back into the fight. When Goten goes to swipe at the pelting rain, he ends up smearing a long line of filth across his face. Dad doesn't even give him the chance to clean it off, to remove the streak of brown from his vision. He punches Goten so hard in the gut that the teenager buckles over. His hands are curled around his middle when his dad lands another blow to the torso. Goten is launched upwards this time. The sky catches him with its harsh and wet embrace as a crack of lightning whitens the clearing. Just as a second flash assaults his vision, Goten is yet again struck by his dad's flurry of fists. It's only seconds later that Goten tastes the dirt once more. I hate this. Hues of blues and grays shine from his dad's approaching face, if only from the harsh reflection of wet glued to his cheeks. He's muddy too, but nothing compared to Goten. The man doesn't look best impressed with the teenager's display. I really hate this. You can do better than this, son. God. He sounds so disappointed. Goten flops his head down. Dirt splatters. Send him back to the house, Piccolo comments from nearby. He's clearly not interested in training. Come on, get up, Goten. Goten contemplates how he ended up in this situation and if the chalk drawing of his teacher had really been worth it after all. When Dad forces him up yet again, Goten decides that it unquestionably hadn't been, especially when, after who knows how long, he still hasn't managed to land a single blow. Focus. His dad orders, but Goten's struggling now. His head pounds from taking too many hits and his ribs are in absolute agony. He spirals when his dad roundhouses his cheek. The stretch of pain is followed by angry throbs and the taste of budding metallic. Goten spits and wipes at his lips, shaky. The rain is hot and thick, feeling like lava against fresh wounds. The kid's done, Piccolo calls from the sidelines. He's been doing it ever since their spar had begun. I'm fine, Goten insists. His dad clearly agrees with Goten because before he knows it, he's knocked free from his feet once more and into the sharp edge of a neighboring boulder. When he screams, more from the shock than the pain, his dad sees the opportunity and several key blasts are sent his way. Goten dodges the first few but ends up taking some nasty burns from the latter ones. They sting, and even in the dimness of night Goten can see his skin bubble an immediate red under the flare of Super Saiyan. The teenager gets a second wind and bends under the oncoming fist. The meld of yellow glow between them becomes blinding, making Goten work sightless as he stumbles away from his father. You gotta advance. Don't show weakness. But Goten can't find an opening, he can barely see straight, the weather is against him, and the rapid beating in his chest from the adrenaline of it all is starting to make him feel woozy. Goku. He's done. No, he's not. Just to spite the asshole, Goten flies forward and swings hard, and true if his dad's damning grunt is anything to go by. That's more like it, his dad then praises. Goten tries to withhold his smile, feeling proud. It's wiped off quickly as his dad's fist connects with his lower jaw. His head then pivots dramatically, body following, just before he strikes down into the ground with ferocity. A crater forms around him, and if not for the rain then he's sure he'd be able to see a cloud of dust circling overhead. Okay. Goten hurts. He hurts pretty badly now. This doesn't seem to stop his dad, however. His golden aura positively dances in the delight of his son's misfortune, pulsing majestically as it draws ever closer to his resting spot. Knowing what's coming next, Goten flinches and balls up. His knees knock against his chin and he attempts his best block. Goku, knock it off. There's no deterrent strong enough to pry his dad away from a fight. Goten can only hope that it doesn't hurt too much. Hiya, cries Dad. A war cry. A ball of blue pistons from his hands and soars in the teenager's direction. It's so fast that Goten isn't sure that it even flew to begin with, instead choosing to teleport directly in front of him before exploding. The searing of skin makes Goten grit his teeth. He refuses to cry. No way, not this time. The light carries out over his body and he feels his arms in particular blister. His block is weak, he knows that, but he didn't expect the attack to be so heated. There's a rush of ki from him as he tries to push back. Yet, the thing has got one more kick to it with one last burst of energy ripping from the sender. Goten manages to power through the onslaught. It endures to pierce through his defense in some places, but otherwise the teenager wards the bulk of it off with an impressive display of stubbornness. He breathes hollowly as he watches the rejected ki rocket into the sky, the rain short of blinding him. Real good, his dad praises once again. He hovers above Goten with a warm smile, one which Goten offers back tenfold. Let's stop here, Piccolo speaks. Is it Goten or does he sound relieved? Let's make camp. Actually, Goten agrees with him. He's very much done after that attack. His bones ache and his battered head is ready to explode itself. So it's at that point then that his father's next words send a shock of cold nausea to his stomach. Huh, what? No way. We're just getting started. Get your butt up. Goku. He's whirled up by his arm. God, no. When released, then teenager stumbles until he manages to regain his terrible footing. The slippery mud beneath slickly tests his awful boot grips. It's not an understatement to say that he's dizzy as hell, so dizzy that he's looking at two of his dads wobbling around. Are you ready? It doesn't matter. His dad charges, fist high knee higher as it clips at Goten's already bludgeoned shoulder. Strike after strike follows and Goten dodges next to none of them. Yet again he can't seem to land a single blow against his father. When he tangles his feet together in a nest of nettles, he falls both against the man and against a tirade of jabs. There's a hoarse cry. Gawk. Goten doesn't hear much more. He takes a hard whack to his temple, making the world fuzzy. Sound distorts with crackles, and Goten can't make out what are the fresh lines of lightning and what's the streaking color his brain's setting out. They merge together chaotically. He takes another punch to the face, and then another, and another. His dad's eyes are hyper-focused. They pierce into his own, so intently that he can't bear to look at them a moment longer. It hurts to look, it hurts to feel. The only thing he starts to feel besides the pain is a sudden rush of fear. He's going to kill me. There's another punch. I'm going to die. The next rattles his head. Please. Then, there's no more. Goten holds his breath, daring to turn back. The next fist is only inches away from his face. There it's held in the iron-like grip of Piccolo's hand, shaking as it still steams with unburned energy. That's enough, Goku, Piccolo says, voice low, threatening. Goten's mouth feels dry despite the copious amount of blood filling it. There's nothing he could ever say to make any difference, especially when his dad's face looks like that. It's strewn tight with rigid determination to land that next punch. He looks to want it more than anything he's ever wanted before. That's enough. Finally, his dad speaks. He's fine. Let go, Piccolo. Piccolo growls, clenching harder. Those pointed nails of his pierced skin. Fine, fine. Look at him, Goku. He's a mess. The only sign of movement is the spell of rain between the three of them, although Goten can see his father's itch for movement. The man can't stay still for a second. The vibrations from his insistent fist say otherwise. Let go, Piccolo. He's done, finished. He's fine. Stop panicking. He can't do this. Yes, he can. No, he can't, Goku. Piccolo twists the hand backwards, forcing his dad to fall with it. You continue this and you're going to kill him. His dad pushes forward, a cold swill of anger bubbling deep within those icy eyes of his. Goten hates that look. He's only seen it a handful of times, but it's enough to make him wish he'd been born blind. I know his limits. You don't even know your own limits, never mind his. His dad doesn't like this. Uncharacteristically heated, he clenches his fists and aims a particularly nasty look at his supposed friend. We're not going over this again. We're not doing this with Goten here. Piccolo spares the teenager a look, grunting. We're finished for tonight, Goten. Grab your stuff. You're going home. Goten goes to nod. He likes that idea very much actually. It's only when there's a grasping at his arm does he feel something in his stomach sink. We're not done, Dad says. I know you've got more in you yet, son. Panic runs through Goten. The nausea doubles, his vision wavers, he wants to be sick. And then a hand slaps his dad's away. Piccolo appears furious. Knock it off, Goku, he snaps. He can't do this, he doesn't want to. You need to understand that he's not as strong as you believe him to be. Goten is not a fighter. He's not that way inclined. He just doesn't have the strength. It's not nice listening, but it's true, Goten admits it. However, the next bit stings. He's not Gohan. Silence follows. It's silent for so long that Goten doesn't know what to expect next. It hurts, of course. It hurts in a variety of ways, but Goten's too hung up on whether or not his dad is about to explode to care. Nothing of the sort comes. Instead, His dad quietly powers down. The gold fades, making the world appear even darker than it feels. Gohan hadn't noticed, but he'd long fallen out of Super Saiyan. The dour rain continues to fall as the thunder shouts and screams for them, especially for Gohan, who feels as if he wants to hurl the worst swear words he knows into his pillow at home. Gohan, his dad attempts. It's quick to die on his tongue. It's silent once again. Go home, kid, Piccolo next instructs when the emptiness draws on too long. You're done here. Gohan looks back towards his dad for a sign of something, anything. He doesn't know what he wants to hear from dad, but he just knows that he needs to hear something. The only thing Gohan hears, however, is the hush of rainfall.